One of my favorite weekends every year, which has me acting like a little kid at Christmas, is the MVACA, or the Missouri Valley Arms Collectors Association show towards the end of July. Now, it's happened at other times earlier in July or June in years past, but it seems like lately it's always the last weekend of July. It was this year, it will be next year. It's a show that has, you can do displays, which I did a display table this year, as well as it has hundreds of tables for sale of firearms and militaria. And the great thing about the MVACA show is there are no jerky sighting windows, no tasers, no Scientologists. There's no junk knives. It is all guns and all militaria. They don't allow any junk, which is just awesome. And it's one of the 10 best gun shows in the country, at least according to Danny of Millsirp World. So, let's get to it. This is an annual tradition anymore. I kind of show off what I got at these shows. Without further ado, start off. Now, the show is out to the public on Saturday and Sunday. You can get in on Friday if you're an MVACA member, which I am, as well as if you have a table or a display table. And the very first thing I got on Friday was I found this Krag book by Brophy. This is basically the Bible, or at least in English, the Bible on Krag rifles. And I've been balking at the price of this on Amazon, Abe's Books. I've been balking at a lot of the online prices, and I got this for about half of what I've been seeing it for online. Another book that I ended up getting on the last day of the show actually was Crown Jewels. This is the Bible on Swedish Mausers, and I got this probably for about 50 to 75% what you see it for online. So these are two great finds. One of my disappointments in the last couple of years at the show is that there used to be a giant book table, and there used to be a couple giant book vendors at these shows, but I think at least the one giant book table, I think that vendor, he died because I think his daughter was actually selling off what was left last year. So you kind of got to look harder for the books, but as I said, I'm not going to complain because I got two very good books for the book library, and will definitely help me out on future videos. After books, let's talk a little bit of ammo. I picked up 15 boxes of the 7mm Mauser ammo. This table had 30 boxes, and Nick from Millsirp World and I split it. So 15 boxes times 15 rounds, if my ciphering is correct, I believe it's 225 rounds of 7mm ammo. So hopefully this works well in my Venezuelan FN49, which kind of balked at some of the hunting rounds when I got it. Hopefully this works well in that. And keep in mind the FN49. Same table I got this. I also got some French-made 30-06 rounds. I got 100 rounds of that. With the Millsirp World guys, I went to a shoot. We had a shoot with them on Saturday night, and I bought this to kind of just shoot out of my Johnson. A lot of guys there wanted to shoot the Johnson rifle, and there's a couple of Johnson rifles out there. Well, and as we found out that night, this French-made stuff is junk and semi-autos and borderline dangerous. Now, Nick from Millsirp Duo, he put some in his P17. It did work in the bolt action rifles, but there was still some funny stuff on the cases that makes me wonder if this stuff's borderline dangerous. So I'm not sure I'm going to fire any more of this. I did pick up some 500 Smith & Wesson for that shoot, but that all got shot by various members of Millsirp World. I also picked up this German 30-06 to kind of replace some of the ammo that I and others had shot at that Millsirp World shoot. So I got 100 rounds of this German stuff. I wish I would have bought more. And finally, I did get on the last day, I got a bandolier of 303 British charger clips. So, that was pretty nice. It's a nice, almost like brand new looking bandolier. So, this will be put into my 303 stash. I believe it was on Friday, the day where it's just the dealers and members day. I was looking at a table who had some American shotguns that were, military marked, I assumed they were for sale, so I picked up this Stevens 520, and I was asking the guy, how much he wanted for it. He kind of jumped on me right away, said, put that down, that's for display only. But then he immediately apologized. We actually had a really nice conversation about American shotguns, military marked. He had a World War II era Winchester 97 trench gun there, and just like the one I got last year, the barrel did not protrude past the heat shield, and that's had me worried ever since I got that last year, even though the serial number is in the correct range. According to Canfield's book, they used various lengths of barrels on their trench guns, but still, I've had a couple of people who are real good with American shotguns say that it's kind of iffy. Well, this guy, he had the shotgun. He's kind of a disciple of Canfield's book, and he assured me that his was real, so it made me feel a little better about mine. He had a few unissued trapdoor bayonets, so I mean, this is absolutely beautiful. It'll go great on my 1873 trapdoor. My 1884 of course has the experimental ramrod bayonet, and I don't know if this will fit on my 5070 trapdoor, but I was happy to get this. This will look great on my 1873 trapdoor. We're finally getting to what the meat and potatoes that most of you probably would rather see, the firearms. Now, I went into the show wanting either a Type 22 Murata, a Type 35 Arisaka, a 1879 Reichsrevolver, or a 94 or 9414 Swedish Mauser carbine. By the time it got to the point where it's the afternoon on Friday, most of the tables have filled up, and I walked through 2 or 3 times. I didn't think that any of these items were going to show up. I started freelancing a little more, and as I walked through, I had things in mind that I'm like, I might make an offer on that later. One rifle that I looked at several times and was debating on whether to make an offer on was a FN49 sent to Luxembourg in 30-06. I went by that table several times. Now, I have a 7mm Mauser Venezuelan version, but another vendor that showed up a little bit later after I walked by this 2 or 3 times, a vendor I had dealt with before, was able to deal with before, he had an Egyptian, an 8mm Mauser, and I had the correct stock, not the Century Arm stock with the disc right here, and of course the sling and bayonet on it. So I'm like, well, might as well, since I wasn't going to get what I really came there for, why not make it an FN day? So I went ahead and turned my back on this real quick because I wanted to get the Luxembourg first, deal with that, because if I only got one of the two, I'd rather have the Luxembourg because these Egyptians are a little bit easier to get. So I went back, was able to make a deal with the Luxembourg, probably got it for around 75% of market, so I wasn't mad at that. And then I went and I got probably about 75 to 80% market on this. Now, granted, this has a sling, and even though this isn't the Egyptian bayonet, it's still the bayonet that fits the FN49. So I was very happy with that. So I got myself 2 FN49s. Maybe I should become an FN49 collector. Try to find a was a Argentinian, a Colombian, a Brazilian. Is it Malaysian or Indonesian? I'm not sure which one in the Pacific that got those, or a Belgian. But maybe I should look to try to get an Argentinian next, to get a 7.62 x 51. But I have a 30-06, an 8mm, and of course I have the 7mm from the Venezuelan. So I was pretty happy with that. On Saturday, I got probably the biggest purchase of the show. I got this Smith & Wesson Model 3 top brake that in 44 Russian. I've wanted one of these for a while. Now, every time I saw a Model 3, they were expensive. But I wanted one to add it to my Russian collection. Well, this one isn't quite Russian. This one was actually sent to Japan, according to this marking here, and I'll put a picture of that up. And what was really cool is this came with the Smith & Wesson letter that told that it was shipped from the factory on January 6, 1879, and delivered to H. Ahrens and Company, Yokohama, Japan, agents for the Japanese government. So this actually fills a couple holes in my collection. I'm going to go ahead and count it as filling a hole in the Russian, even though I don't have an actual Russian Model 3, but it fills a hole in the Japanese collection as well. So I was pretty happy to get that. Now, one firearm that I passed up, I think I'm going to tell the story on that before I go to my last firearm. There was a Savage Model 720 that was an American bomb-proofed and P-marked. The guy that I got this from, who had the shotguns, he actually had Canfield's book on hand, and I'm very thankful to him because he let me borrow that book to go to this other table and check that out, because there's a couple things that in my mind that made me question its authenticity. I'm not accusing the lady who had the table, because I've dealt with her before and she's given me some very good deals. So, she wouldn't do anything, but I do know that a P stamp is one of the easiest things to fake out there. I looked at the serial number on the shotgun, and according to Canfield's book, I believe it started at 69,000, I believe, to 84,000, and this one was 68,004. But Canfield's book said that there are some outside the range that are authentic, but the one thing that made me kind of back off from it is that it had a choke on it, and Canfield's book said nothing about the chokes on these Savage 720s for military use. The Remington 11 that I got at Leavenworth back in November, it had the cuts compensator and adjustable choke, but that is actually kosher according to Canfield's book. Canfield's book said nothing about these chokes on the the Savage Model 720. So I went ahead and backed off from that and just let that one pass. But the final firearm I got, somebody was just walking around with this on Sunday. This is a Car 88, the carbine version of the Gewehr 88 commission rifle, and this is pretty cool. It's complete. My only complaints about it is, the stock looks like it has been sanded, but that really doesn't bother me too much. And somebody did polish the hell out of the butt plate, but the butt plate is still properly marked. And as the Milsurp World guys were saying, that maybe I should just bury that in the ground for 2 or 3 weeks and maybe scuff it up a little bit. But it has the unit marked on there. And Aaron from Milsurp World, his table was next to mine, and he knew a couple experts on the on Imperial German rifles. He gave me the history rundown and told me what the unit is on the unit marking. The bolt does not match the rifle, but the bolt does match itself, and it has been Arsenal refurbished at some point. But I was pretty happy with this. I did get a Car 88 from Carol Watson's here recently, and I'm going to actually do a auction house review on Carol Watson's. This is not S-marked. The one I got from Carol Watson's is S-marked, so when I eventually do a video on this, I'm going to have to shoot the one I got from Carol Watson's, because this one would definitely have to be downloaded quite a bit, since it doesn't have the S Spitzer marked on it. But that was a pretty cool little find, and I was glad to have that. One last thing that I got at the show was, since I had a display table there, I actually got a plaque from MVACA from that for a Rising Star. Now, it wasn't top 10, it wasn't best in show by any means. I'll put some pictures up of my display. I kind of wonder if this is almost a kind of a participation trophy for a younger dude, even though I'm 46, but I'm still one of the younger members by far in this organization who did a display. It's my first year, so I was happy that they gave me a plaque and kind of recognized the work that I put into my display. And if you want to see more displays from MVACA, which there's millions of dollars worth of guns there, click over here. Otherwise, please join the GOA, get $5 off the membership below. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a great day.